Hey guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to be doing a tag called TradWitchTag, which was started by Momqua. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I have a feeling I didn't, but I apologize. I seen this tag first on Courtney's channel, which is Erie's Witchcraft. And I've seen a few other videos, and I plan on, going and watching more. But I thought these were really good questions, and so I wanted to jump in. So the first question is, what kind of craft do you practice, i.e. folk magic? And I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Folk magic, traditional witchcraft, Wicca, modern witchcraft, ceremonial magic, eclectic, occultism. Yes. Okay, so what I mean by that is all of the above. I think my practice delves in a little bit of all of those areas, but not, it's just really eclectic. And more, I would say chaos magic, I would say hedge witch, I would say hearth witch, I would say kitchen witchery, I would say green witch, definitely. I love working with herbs. Cosmic witch, because I love working with astrology and the placements of celestial bodies in my witchcraft. And I would say, yeah, all of that. And there's probably stuff I'm missing. I'm just not really big on labels. I think that labels, and I understand for this particular tag, or I think that they have their purpose, like in, small talk and light discussions. But really, I love in-depth conversations where it's not about labels, it's about the actual contents, but anyways, I understand why you would need it for a tag like this, or like small talk. Question two, what paradigm, faith, or philosophy informs your craft, i.e. spirit model, animism, Neoplatonism, psychological approach, energy model, and polytheism? Again, I'm not big on labels. So half of these I had to look up because I don't know what that means. I don't know the labels that are put on them, but I will tell you. So I'm not going to put labels on it. I'm just going to tell you pretty much how I feel about my philosophy of magic. And so, and the craft, witchcraft. So I believe that everything, so this is probably like animism, everything is of the source, or what some people would term as God. However, I also believe in polytheism. I believe in several different gods. However, I believe that those gods that we've seen throughout history, I mean, this is almost going to be a lot like Courtney's video over at Erie's Witchcraft, which I will be putting a link down below to hers, as well as the original from Momqua. But I believe that, God or source is, let me pause that. Oh, I can't. So I believe that God or source is actually all of us, our mass consciousness, our higher mass consciousness, or like we are all like the Godhead. And then our mass consciousness created this particular reality, as well as many other realities. I believe that the gods that we think of, like, Enki and Enlil and Odin and Osiris and Thoth, and you get where I'm going with this. I believe that they're all extraterrestrial, or they were an advanced race that lived before us here. Now, I do believe that we were engineered, okay? I believe that there has been a hand in engineering humanity. However, I believe that the actual source, and including those gods, the different pantheons and the gods that we look at, even angels and demons, I believe those all came from the source as well. We all came from the source, and we're in this reality. I believe that that's why I like working with all of it. But, you know, even like all of the, from what I've seen so far, most of your early civilizations that we know about, their gods and goddesses were associated with the different planets. And then frequency, because those planets have frequency. That's why I'm huge into true astrology and what is actually happening in the sky, because I believe it has a direct bearing on how we are. Not something that's set, I mean, just like the moon definitely has its pull on us. And I've heard people that work in like emergency rooms and say, like, on the full moon, that's when all the crazies come out. Okay. Because I do believe that it does have a direct effect on us by frequency. So depending on where things are truly in the cosmos, I believe that they emit certain signals to us. So, and I've actually had a message from dreams. You know, I would say another part of my practice, which I think that might be, another part of another question, but dreams are a huge part of my practice. I follow my dreams. So probably shamanism would also be included in those titles. But like I said, I don't really like the title so much. Anyways, I could go on forever and ever and ever about what I believe about all that. But I believe that when it comes to magic and intention and belief is everything, because I don't believe that this is like a true reality. I believe that this is a illusion. So when we really know what our power is and believe in our power, that's the number one thing that changes our reality. That is how I believe magic works. And I don't believe that that is just in doing spell work and putting some fancy or, you know, stuff together and then believe in. I believe that we also have to do mundane things in our life in order to make that come about. So, because I also like feng shui, and I like setting up my area. So that's probably the Hearth Witch, right? I don't know. That might fall into a couple of different ones. I'm not sure. What cultures is your practice rooted in? Well, Egyptian. I do have memories of lives in Egypt, things that happened that also, you know, and that was through dream work and or just that in between when you come out of a dream or you're just getting ready or, you know, sleep, when you're just coming in, the different brain waves, which I also think that the planets have a direct influence on those things. So American, Celtic, Norse. I'm just extremely eclectic. Eastern, you know, like Indian, Buddhism, Hindu. I mean, I have like Kuan Yin. I love Kuan Yin. I love um, Ganesh, Lord Ganesha. Um, I mean, I'm pulled in many directions. Okay, so yes, that's my answer. I'm sorry if this is kind of like rambly, but how long have you been practicing and how did it all start? Well, actually doing spell work where I'm putting in correspondence and stuff because I feel like I've always been practicing. However, actually doing like correspondences and stuff like that, that's a little bit different. That's probably been about 10 years. Now, reading and stuff like that, it's been probably 20 years or more. But I will say that one of the reasons that I say that it's probably always been like that, because I remember as a little girl, maybe 5 years old, my sister and I wishing upon a star, the both of us at the same time. And within a matter of minutes, what we wished, my mom came into the bedroom and told us that our wish had come true. She didn't know that we had wished that, but she came in minutes later and told us that we were going, because we had wished that we were going to go to Cedar Point, which is an amusement park here in well, it was in Ohio, Sandusky, Ohio, but we're in Michigan, so it's just we're a state away. And we had wished upon a falling star, and it came true within a matter of minutes. At that point, looking back, I realized that magic was real, right? That I just didn't know the degree to it. And then there was lots of stuff that happened paranormal to me when I was little, to my sister, to my mom, to family. And yeah, so that also was a huge part of it. Then what stepped it up, probably about maybe, well, when we moved into another house, and I had started reading some books. I had, this was, well, one was on the internet, and I can't remember, it probably was something to do with the Lesser Keys of Solomon or the Greater Keys of Solomon. I can't remember. It was the story of King Solomon having a ring, being able to use that was given to him, the sigil ring, as a way of controlling like demons. And I remember that they all had like different faces, like different heads, like a lion head and an eagle head and all that. And how, being able to use that kind of symbolism in order to control them, to help them, to help him build his temple. And one of the things for me was growing up in Christianity and a religion. And it was never pushed on me. I was always a seeker. I wanted to learn more. So some of the other books that I read umpteen years ago, that's an actual term, umpteen years, was like the Dead Sea Scrolls, learning about the gosh, I can't remember the name as I get older, like menopause fog, right? But what was the name of that? The Nag Hammadi, the Gospels of that, and of course, the Bible, reading into that, doing the Bible study, going to Bible school and Bible camp or church camp when I was 13. I think those were all parts of that learning, because I feel like there's so much magic that's actually talked about in the Bible, just even if you look at all of the things that Jesus Christ was able to do. And I love JC, okay? Just saying. I think he is an ascended master, and I think he was pagan. All right? I'm just keeping it real. But so it started there. And then as I got older, I also read another book. I was probably about 24, 25. This was before my daughter was born, but after my son. Not long after. Well, maybe I was 26. It was in between. And I know because I'm placing this from how old my kids were. That's how I can remember back. And the house that we lived in at the time. And I had read a book called The Sacred Magic of the Abramelin or something like that. And it's broke up into two parts. In the beginning, it talks about the whole history of Abraham, and it talks about the magic that was bestowed on him. Like the symbolism and the sigils that he would use, stuff like that was given to him by God. Okay. But then on the second half, there's like a warning. And I gave this book, I believe, to my sister 20 years ago for her to read after I read it. And I pretty much think she did the same thing as me, but I did not. I'm just checking to see how long I've been on here. I did not read the second half because there's a warning on there that says, once you actually start doing these magical, and there was like sigils and probably like planetary squares. I don't remember everything that was in the second half because it said once you start doing this, you start working with demons and stuff like that. And I'm going to be honest, it scared the living crap out of me because I always heard in my head my mom's voice saying, Rachele, curiosity killed the cat. Right. So I was like, oh, plus the things that happened to me on a like paranormal nature. When I was like 3 or 4 years old, we were living in a trailer in Jerome, Michigan. It was about, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I shared a bedroom with my sister. And I got out of bed. I was in the bottom bunk and she was in the top bunk. I got out of bed and was getting ready because I had to go to the bathroom. And I swear to you, something grabbed my ankle from underneath of the bed and started pulling me. And we had some other weird things happen at that location, like Bigfoot and stuff like that. But it had grabbed me. But I'm telling you, when you look down, there was nothing there, but I could feel its hand around my ankle pulling me, and I screamed and screamed, and I woke up my whole house. And from that point on, it was traumatic. Let me tell you, it was a traumatic experience, but it always made me question other things and made me realize that there was more to just this, because there was literally nothing there. Now, looking back, I think maybe that was possibly extraterrestrial or something, because I've also had a lot of dreams or being woke up by feeling like I was falling back into my bed. And now, after listening to a lot of Dolores Cannon books, that was after like alien or extraterrestrial abductions. That was one of the things that they would feel is like being put back down into their bed, being, a feeling of falling. And I would have that a lot. I would wake up jerking. I've had that a lot. I've had a lot of what we called at the time phantasm attacks, because we didn't know what they were called, but they were paralysis, and this feeling of something like closing in on you. You're awake, you can't say anything. Well, I should probably bring this up too, although that's probably another question. So anyways, it started, I have a history of paranormal and just early interest that started me from a very early age. But the actual practicing of witchcraft, the actual practicing hands-on with herbs and oils and stuff like that, didn't start until probably like 10 years ago. The actual reading about it much earlier, but I didn't jump off the cliff, more or less. What books or resources have you first have you first started with? Would you recommend them to others today? Okay, so some of those books, I grabbed them because I still have them. Wicca by Scott Cunningham. And I'm hearing a lot of people that are saying this. To Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. Oops. This is another one I got a little bit after. I love it. Grimoire for a Green Witch. I definitely feel like I'm definitely a Green Witch. I love working with herbs and yada, yada, yada. I've already said that. And Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. But earlier than that, earlier than those, Sylvia Brown books. And I mean, I read a lot of her books. And like I said, the Bible stuff, and the study of like other materials that I was doing 20 years, roughly 20 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. Would I recommend these? I mean, I would. They were a good place to start. And I feel like some of my practice still is kind of Wiccan because of like how I set up my altars and stuff like that, and color associations and candles and stuff, and correspondences, days and stuff like that. I learned all that through like these books, like Wicca and how to ride a silver broomstick. However, and it got me started, and I'm sorry, I'm like kind of wishy-washy, but that's also kind of what got me started with not practicing for a long time, because I felt like in the beginning that I needed all the things. I needed the robes, and I needed all the different colored candles, and I needed the different herbs, and so that started me on, purchasing all of the herbs, all of the stuff. I mean, you've seen other video of like my apothecary, and all of my, like, you can see it here, all of my decks and books, and my wands and my crystals. So I would suggest they're a good place to start. However, you do not need all of those things. You don't. You just need you. You are the ultimate, in my opinion. You are the ultimate magic, because what we live in is magic. People that don't practice witchcraft still do magic, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. This is my opinion. So yeah. Anyways, moving on. Okay. So 6, how has your practice and or paradigm changed over the years, if at all? Another thing that really influenced me was The Secret. The Law of Attraction, The Secret. When that came out, I was just like, oh my gosh. And A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle started making me look more at the psychological, but also like the pain body and emotions, and how our energy can, like go out further, how we hold on to things. Like one of the things that I remember about that was like road rage. Okay. That every time, and I recognized it because every time I would get in the vehicle, it's like my demeanor would change when I would get on the road, and I would get so much anxiety after a while driving around other bad drivers. I'm going to say that. Okay. Or anyways, and a road rage would come out, and my daughter would be like, they can't hear you, Mom. And I'd be like, you stupid son of a, that was me. And then after I read that book, I was like, well, I read the book, but I did the webinar with Oprah and Eckhart Tolle back in the day, early 2000s. It was instrumental. At first, it was really hard to get through, but after that, I was like, wow. I didn't realize my demeanor changed. I started being in the now, and that's when awareness started. That's when my awakening started. So, because I believe that awareness and intention is always carried in the now, right? Being conscious of what you are putting out, what is around you. Anywho, yeah. So how has my practice changed? Gosh, that is so hard. Maybe just more confidence that I don't have to go by how somebody else does their magic. I don't have to adhere to a certain set of rules. You know, I mean, back in the day, do you think that these witches were going, oh, I've got to use this on Tuesday, I've got to use this on blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't power in that, but I'm saying I'm going to do my witchcraft the way that I see fit and that feels right to me. So that is what has evolved. I don't have to use a certain color if I don't want to. I'm going to do what feels right, period. What I am called to. And, you know, I like to make things my own rather than use what somebody else does. So, which there's another question further on about that. So what does your daily or regular practice look like? What do you do on a regular basis? Well, I brought this down. I don't know if you can hear it. This is a sistrum, and this is Hathor. This was actually made in Egypt. I ordered it off of Etsy, and I like to go around and bring in the energy of the Pleiades, because this is like it is said that this could bring in the Pleiades, because Hathor or is it 7 Hathors or 9 Hathors? I can't remember. My memory's so bad. But that they were from the Pleiades. And when this would sound in their temples, they would be bringing in the energy of the Pleiades, which is like healing and love. And, so I'll go around and I'll do this. I love doing tarot. I like all of my drinks and food before I eat and consume. I give thanks to Mother, Father, God, Mother Gaia, Father, Sun, Grandmother Moon. I give thanks to the water itself, the element of water. I give thanks to the people that delivered it. I give thanks to, all the whole line of it, how it got to me. Something easier for me to maybe show is like when I eat like my blueberries, or strawberries, or I eat tons of fruit. That's like my main diet is fruit. I know you wouldn't think that by looking at me, right? But it's true. It's fruit, because especially now, because I've been sick, it helps boost up my immunity naturally. So that's another part of like hedge witch and green witch and kitchen witch. And so I bless the things that I consume. And I like to put frequency in those things that I consume, and intention. I try to do prosperity magic and abundance magic once a week, at least once a week. I do tarot. I don't do it every single day. And I do oracle. I don't do it every single day, but mostly. I do gratitude work. I do affirmations, daily affirmations. I think that's important. I think that the world is such a place, especially now that we have so much social media and connectivity, that it can be such a negative place to be. And I feel like affirmations and self-care and all that are so important. So I make it a part of my daily practice most of the time. But I'll like draw certain cards once a week. I started watching Kelly Beers, like what she said, she goes in phases. Like, I haven't finished watching it. That's why I haven't commented. I will though. But she goes in phases. So like she'll watch, or she'll do like a daily draw for a while, then she'll do a weekly draw, maybe then she'll do like a monthly practice or whatever, it changes. That's me as well. Once I start feeling like it's too much, it means it's time for me to just take a little break. I don't want it to ever become like it's an obligation. I want it to feel like it is something that's coming from like a place of joy and wanting to, because I think that affects us as well. So that's pretty much what I do daily. Are there aspects of your craft that you need to keep secret? In your opinion, is secrecy important in witchcraft? Okay, so yes and no. So do I think like in the witch's pyramid that you must keep secret in order for like your power to work? Nah, I don't. However, I do think that, and I believe it was Farah that talked about this on her channel. And I completely agree. And I commented to it that there are people out there that do not want to see you do well. They do not want to see you succeed. So if you are putting that information out there, especially, and I hate to say it, but other witches can be envious also, or just even another person that doesn't even think that they practice magic can have negative feelings towards you, right? They just don't like you. They don't like the way you look. They don't like the sound of your voice. They're just having a bad day, whatever. So I don't like to put my stuff out there. Even after the fact, sometimes I don't like to put it out there because it's nobody's business what I do in my practice. People can say everything that they want, like, oh, I don't see anything, so they're not really a witch. And, that's just all shallow shit, in my opinion. When we assume things about other people, when we don't really know, and we're basing it off of social media or something like that, unless we're in their daily life, just shut the up. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion. So that's why I think being silent. Now, the other side of that, and I know this is kind of crappy, probably because I've been sick. I'm sorry. So the other side of that is when I see like TikTok hearing about these witches that are cursing this and cursing that, I think, really? Come on. Are you? Or is that for a show? Okay. Are you trying to be relevant? Are you trying to look all badass? Why do you got to make a show of it? Is it that always makes me wonder, I'm not saying that they're not doing it or that they're trying to do it, but my question is, what is their intention behind doing it? Okay. So, all right, moving on. I don't think you need to be silent, but I not for the power of it, but I think that there can be other energies that come in, especially if they know what you're doing, and counteract it. And so it can cause more problems if you divulge that information. Not to mention, there's people that want to hurt other people that do, because of fear, because of envy, because of jealousy, because of whatever. So, yeah. So number 9. What are some of your favorite tools that you use regularly? Crystals. I love using crystals. This is Janice. She's labradorite. I love doing crystal gritting. I love candles and incense and oils and and I said that you don't need all the stuff, but I have all the stuff, so I like to use all of the stuff. I don't think you need it, right? But I do think that, especially if you're making your own, I like to make my own candles. I like to make my own oils. I like to make my own loose incense. And or I just made kefi also this year, my first batch of kefi. But if you are adding those correspondences that you also took the time and put your energy into. But I also think that it's good when you buy from other people, because as long as you trust the source, that's also compounding your energy. It's adding somebody else's energy to your intention work. So I think that's also a really good thing. But I don't think you need it. But seeing as how I have it, I'm going to utilize it. I like directing energy. I like using frequency, dancing and breath work and mantras, spell work. I love writing spells. Gosh, astrology, tarot, divination. Gosh, I mean, I like all of it. That's all the stuff I love. Okay, so tools that I like to use. 10. What books or resources would you recommend to newbie witches interested in your kind of craft? A little bit of everything. What interests you? What you feel pulled to? What brings you joy? I think that the reason why we have certain desires or joys or things that we're pulled to is because that is what we're supposed to be doing in our life path. There's a reason why we are attracted to certain things. I say, don't fight that. Go with the flow. Be as organic as you can be. Don't listen to other people that tell you you've got to do it this way, you've got to do it that way. No, because I really feel like the real magic comes from inside of you, and that you are inherently born magic, because we are in a magic system. This matrix is magic. We all have the ability to manifest. Even those people that say that they don't do witchcraft and all that, trust me, you have a say in what happens in your reality. This is my opinion. So whether that's good or bad. Okay. So when you're putting out your positive thoughts, those things are going to come back to you, and they're also going to affect other people. When you're putting out negativity and, nastiness, you're going to get that back too, one way or another. This is, again, my opinion. And it doesn't have to be a ritual. It just can just be you, who you are, the frequency that you emit. So, yeah. So I say, read, just like what Courtney said from Aries Witchcraft, read what you feel pulled to. Watch videos that you feel pulled to. Don't let anybody tell you that's wrong. There's a reason why you are pulled to those things. So that would be my, what I would recommend. So this was, gosh, a really good hashtag. Thank you for joining me. As I said, this was started by, I believe it's Mumqua, and I will be putting a link down to her channel. This was hashtag traditional witch tag. I also seen this the first time on Courtney's channel, which is Aries Witchcraft, and I will be putting a link down below. I hope to see other people joining in on this tag. I think it's wonderful, and I am sending you love always. Thank you so much.